Ah, hey, welcome everybody. It's good to be back. It seems like it's been forever. A couple weeks out since we've been in here. The last time Jeff was here, technical difficulties plagued his visit, so we had to go to Plan B that day, and then the week after that, gosh, I can't even remember. Had Rob from FL Thunder, and we had a really good one, and that stream's kind of taken off and picked up some traction. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab Nick. We got Jeff waiting in the wings. Have a little conversation with him, and we'll get this thing rolling tonight. What's up, brother?
How's it going? I was hearing you twice, and I forgot I had my computer speakers plugged in, so I'm glad I got that fixed before you drug me on here.
Before we get going a little bit, how was family time in Gatlinburg?
Family time in Gatlinburg is good. Family time was good.
So I know the last time before, we were down there together and got to do a whatever we wanted. What's Gatlinburg like with two young kids?
Oh, it's a blast. It's a freaking blast. Spend probably more money than you intended beginning, but it's definitely worth it. So much fun, so much stuff for the kids to do.
Yeah, I figured Max would like it a lot because he just seems like he wants to be in that go-go environment. And Riley, she seems to be excited about lots of things. So I figured that was a really good time for him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were super jealous when we went down in October, and I had to come back and tell them about it, and they did not like that. Well, let's go. So we kept pushing it back for reasons, and we got to go. And I'll tell you, my favorite thing down there was the escape rooms. We all loved the escape rooms.
Heck yeah, they got those pretty much everywhere. That's the one thing I didn't get to do when I was down there with you. So I think that's something we're going to try out next time we head down there. Hey, I want to get into saying hey to everybody in the chat, and we'll get going with Jeff here shortly. First, the one to stop by, except for I know Tim was in really early, but Goat was in here a little while ago. Yee. Jeff, how's your wife? I hope all is well. Hope everything's going okay. Indiana Tones Lou, what's up, Lou? Nice to see you, buddy. Feels like we've been gone for a while. It's hard to get back in the rhythm of doing this. Squirrels Magnet Fishing, Tidewater Magnet Thrower. What's up, Jacob? Kay's digging it. Thanks for sending Dawn that message. She got back to me today. She finally received her prize, so I was glad that it made it okay. It had some technical difficulties getting down there. Illinois Digger Tim again. That's Jeff's buddy and our good buddy. We enjoy Tim a lot. Going on, them two were talking for quite some time. Clark's Cove Detecting. What's up, Robert, Melissa? Nice to see you guys tonight. Steel Wool Queen. Hello, hello. Take it on. There's Nick. Yay, Nick. Man, them guys were chatting it up. Marty Verstahl, digging with Marty. What's up, Marty? Nice to see you. Says hello to Shane and Nick. Mary Monarch. Hello. Hi, Mary. 508 Magnets. Josh Parker. What's up, brother? Nice to see you. Keep on going. Keep on rolling. Man, the people that are in here tonight are as a chatty group. Malaysia Metal Detector. What's up, buddy? Nice to see you in here tonight. Let me make you a moderator. Drop your channel link in here if you like. Thank you for coming by. #907 Adventures. What's going on, buddy? #number crew. I don't know what that means.
What was it?
#number crew.
Yeah, everybody that puts in their area code. 508 Magnets.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm a little dense sometimes. And we just had a long week of work, so I'm allowed to be.
#number crew.
Digologist, what's going on? Papa Roos, what's in the dirt? What's up, Bill? I make you a moderator. I don't know why you're not. Monk Cheetah. How's Tango Tango doing, sir? Relic Reaper metal detecting. Don Garza. Marlon's in here tonight. What's up, Mayor Videos?
Hey, Marlon.
I feel like it's been forever since I've got a chance to talk to him. Usually we always go by and hang out. Oh, I see another new face in here tonight real fast. Ron F is in here. Everybody go check out Ron F's channel. He's one of the prospectors. He's from up around Indianapolis. He's a very cool dude. We spent some time with him at Flash Bash, and everybody go give him some love. Click on his channel, hang out with him for a little bit, watch some of his stuff. He's got some pretty good stuff. Very good guy to hang out with.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And Iron Antler Adventures. I just watched one of their videos here yesterday or the day before. They got some magnet fishing. Brotherhood metal detecting. What's going on, Eric? Hey, congratulations on your anniversary, brother. You got a beautiful family. Scuba Sonia's in the house. Team Sonia. And I think that just about covers everybody that I see. Michigan Magnet Man. What's up, Tanner?
Eric's in here. Brotherhood.
Oh, and Jana Gooch. I am not familiar, but I'm going to say hello for the first time to you. All right, dude. So last time we was doing this bit, we had Jeff weigh in, and Jeff was trying to run from his phone because he was having internet issues, and we just couldn't keep Jeff in here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab him and bring him on up to start the day, and then we'll highlight Jeff's last visit for just a few seconds. What's up, buddy?
Everyone. Hi, everyone. The shout out that Jana Gooch, that's my sister.
Oh, see, I figured you might know since I didn't. Well, yeah. Hello, Sister Jana. So the last time you were here, I think we got clear to a couple points. We got to the point where you were at the state fair. You were pretty young with your metal detector, and you found a seeded coin and really didn't have no idea what you found, but you was hooked. Is that pretty accurate where we were at?
That's about right. Yeah.
Oh, well. So how old were you when you found that seeded coin? Just curious.
I think I was 13.
13 years old. So you're 13 years old. You find your first seeded coin. You have no idea of significance for it. And you're sitting around. And how did your metal detecting progress from that point? You said you were kind of hooked, but where does a 13-year-old go to metal detect?
Well, fortunately, I grew up in a town that had a very rich history. That was a logging town. They had a huge park there, started in the 1800s, and the Northern Wisconsin State Fairgrounds was also there. So those were two of my go-to places, and they were both open for metal detecting. And then I had a local school that was a couple of blocks from my house there, and then a root beer stand that was close to my house at a big grassy area. So those are kind of like my four go-to places.
So
normally on my
pretty nice places.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good place to start. And we're talking about late 70s, probably.
Mid 70s. I was 75, 76 in there.
Gosh. Okay. So you're in these parks. Was there a lot of trash back then? Did people, disregard the cleanliness of the park, or was it just like a coin fest? What was it like digging in 1975?
It was fairly similar to today. I mean, there wasn't probably as much what we call like you're running to can slaw, that kind of stuff, but there was your pull tabs and probably more bottle caps than there are pull tabs. But coin-wise, yeah, you would hit little spots that had never been touched before, and you just stop popping silver one right after the other. It was crazy. And I mean, the machine that I was using, 5 inches, 6 inches was considered a deep find. So I mean, I probably went over so many old coins back then that I couldn't reach. If I had the equipment I had today and the knowledge that I have today, I would have
You'd have cleaned
slayed
up.
it. Yeah.
I think
And I
there's
didn't
a
really think
song
out of the
about
box
that.
either. I didn't think much out of the box either back then. I stuck with like the picnic type areas, the playground type areas, but I didn't like now I'll venture out into the wooded areas of the parks, knowing that those trees weren't there 100 years ago. And there's a creek that ran through that park too that I could have spent hours and hours in that creek. I'm sure I found stuff too.
Yeah, I was saying you brought that up that I was sitting there thinking how nice it would be if we would have got to go out and do a lot of metal. I did a little metal detecting when I was about 8 or 9 years old, but it was at our local ball field, and my stepdad was a coach and coached teams, and I'd go around the bleachers with my little bullseye metal detector to collect coins so that I could go buy soda pops and candy without having to hit my parents up. And that was kind of when I started. But I was sitting there thinking that I didn't find a whole lot of trash there because people took care of the park. And I thought that'd be pretty pretty good little thing to do. So you metal detected the school and the park and stuff like that in there. So I'm sure by the time you were 15 years old, you had was there anybody else metal detecting around you at the time? Did you see other people out and about?
I'd run into people every once in a while. One thing about my small town, it was population of like 12,000 people, but there was a whites dealer in our town. He started dealing whites probably in the early 70s, and that's who I bought my first real metal detector from. So he had a few customers in the area, but I didn't run into very, very often. And they had tried to start a club
Uh-oh.
later.
Okay, you broke up there for a minute there. So you had a white dealer, and then and you said how much longer was it before you picked up another metal detector, a better model?
Well, my first one, I bought it like at a rummage sale. I think I mentioned that when we started in the last interview. It was like a kit that used a transistor radio, and you basically had a threshold. You had to listen to the change in the threshold, and you knew you're over metal. But all I dug was big chunks of iron. Never picked up any coins, but that kind of got me really interested in it. And then my grandmother helped me buy one for my very first metal detector, which was a White's Beachcomber. I think they were around $99 or something like that at the time. It was just a beginner machine, but it was very capable of finding stuff.
So as a
And
kid,
that
was
about my 13th birthday, I think, was when I got that. And then I just kind of progressed from there.
Yeah, so then you had a local white dealer. Was you in there picking people's brains? I mean, as a kid, I was, especially back in that time frame. Well, for me, it would have been the early '80s for the most part. If I would have had something like that, I would have been in there. I would have been in there bugging people, trying to learn or whatnot. Did you go hang out at the white dealer and stare in the window like a kid at Christmas, looking at the new toys?
Well, he worked out of his home for quite a few years, and then he started, I think, probably around 78 or 79. He opened up a coin shop, and so he had the dealership in his coin shop, and I used to hang out in that coin shop 4 or 5 days a week, just stand in there, and he would, I don't know, talk metal detecting and look at the Western Eastern Treasure magazines, and look at the nice newest models hanging on the wall and dream about having one. But back then I didn't have a lot of money, so. But he was good. He was a good guy. He took me out several times detecting when I was a kid, and showed me the ropes. Showed me how to water hunt back then, which was a real chore, and it was kind of scary too.
Yeah, that's I just never really had that much time to think about it. What it would be like back then. But we always wondered what it would be like to detect back a little ways back. So that progressing on through, you go through high school and you get out. What did you do after school?
I went to technical school. I got actually 3 different degrees from the technical school. during that period, I don't think I metal detected much at all. That was like 5 years I spent in and out of school and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah, that's
But
always
in
tough.
high school. In high school too, metal detecting was not considered like the cool thing to be doing. So I was actually a little embarrassed about the hobby, but I loved it so much, so I still went out. But I tried to go where I knew I wouldn't be running into my high school buddies or people I knew. So
Did you wear like a hood
But
and stuff so nobody would see your face?
yeah. But
So when
eventually
did you get back in?
I got over that. Now I want to talk about it with everybody that I run into. I don't care who knows about it. But
Yeah, that's exactly the way it works. I don't think I was ever embarrassed, but fast forward. Why don't you get back into the next time you really picked it back up? When did you really get back into it hot and heavy again after that?
it was probably around 2007 is when I really got into it. So I think YouTube started getting hot. I started watching those videos. I had always had a metal detector, and I probably went out at least a half a dozen times a year, sometimes more. I get in this. There were times over the years where I'd really get into it for a while, and then I'd put it down for a year or whatever. But about 2007, I think it was around then when I really started getting back into it, and I bought a White's DFX, and that was probably the newest machine at the time. That was the hot machine.
So okay, that's so like what really? I mean, I guess watching YouTube made you decide to start wanting to record yourself. How did that kind of progress and come about?
Yeah, I was just watching the YouTube videos, and I started finding some cool things, and I thought, what, I could do these videos too. So I bought a camera and just started making them. We had moved to the area that I'm living in right now. We moved here in 2001, and there's it seemed like almost every place I went right in this area, it was virgin ground. There was not a lot of, I don't think there was a lot of people metal detecting in this county or the area of the county that I'm in. So I was finding some good stuff, and I thought, I'm going to start putting it on film. So that's how it got started.
So I mean, how did your first? I mean, so you started putting everything on film and stuff like that. When you were, what was some of the first good things you were recording when you found them? What were some of your, what was some of your highlights at that point in time?
Your typical silver coins, probably what I was showing most. Indian heads, buffalo silvers, a few pieces of jewelry here and there. It wasn't until probably maybe 6-7 years later when I found my first copper culture artifact. So,
speaking of that whole copper thing, tell me about this chunk.
Well, that one there is what's called float copper, which is the native copper. It basically came down from the glaciers, pushed it down here from upper Michigan area. It's very prevalent in eastern Wisconsin. So the natives would use the Native Americans would use this and shape it into tools. But this particular piece, it was a screamer, of course. That's 17 pounds of copper. It's probably about the size of a dinner plate, maybe a little bit bigger than that, and about 1.5 inches thick.
So is that kind of a common occurrence? I mean, since it's in the ground there, do you find chunks of copper quite often?
Yeah, I wouldn't say all the time, but I found probably 60, 70 different pieces of all different various sizes. This is the largest one I've ever found.
Yeah. So I mean, you and I were chatting it up a little bit about this, and you send me these pictures, and I'm looking at these pictures, and I'm thinking, I was kind of caught off guard. Like, yeah, you said you were going to send me some pictures, and one of the first things I saw was this big piece of copper, and I was like, dang, that's at first I thought it was iron, and then you were discussing with me the natural copper deposits and stuff like that you find. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, is there anything else in that, or is that just all copper?
I think it's pretty close to pure copper. I'm not sure what the exact makeup of it is, but pretty close to pure copper.
And let's see where
and they have
heavy.
in upper part of Michigan, they have boulder size pieces, and there's a few that are like the size of a truck that are like just up in the wooded areas up there.
All right.
Little tiny pieces all the way down to the size of a dime, and every size in between.
Let's see if this transfers over really fast. Oh, no, it doesn't want to work the way I want it to. Of course not. So let me see here. I hit this one and do it again. Now, this is going to be annoying. But anyway, I want to get through some of these others. Tell me a little bit about this one. Oops.
Yeah, so
I'll get it right here in a second. Go ahead.
So what came up, I think you're going to put up the pictures of my copper culture artifacts. Yeah, so Native Americans, I think around 5,000 BC is when they started to shape this copper into tools. And then I think it was around 1500 BC is when they kind of went away from more of a tool type objects to more decorative type objects, which is that little round one is like a necklace. It's almost like a locket. It's actually two pieces, and it has a little hook on top that used to be a complete circle to hang like on a piece of leather or something, like on a necklace. So here, what I have here is the two skinny ones on both sides of the round one. Those are called awls. They were used to punch holes in hide. And then a knife blade is on the right side, the second one down. That's a knife blade. And then the other three, the two on top, and then the one that's more greenish, those are spear points, different types of spear points. And then I'm not even sure what the other one is. I haven't had that one identified yet. There's a local expert in Dodge County, Wisconsin, that has looked at this stuff and thought it was pretty cool. But this is the small collection for me, but there are some other collectors in the state, metal detectors, that have huge collections of this stuff. And they have everything from axe heads to all the way down to fish hooks, and they form just about anything you can think of out of it. The one that's kind of greenish, my story behind that one is I was doing some research for metal detecting, and I came across an article about Native Americans doing some trading, and they mentioned their camp, where they were camped, and it sounded like it was a huge area where they were camped. So I did a little bit more research on it and located the actual farm that the camp was on. And so my goal was to get on this farm and find a copper culture artifact. And
Those are very cool.
I did it. Yeah, and I did it. That was the piece that I found. It was all bent up when I found it, probably hit by the plow 100 times. And I called up a friend of mine who's an expert, and he told me how to straighten it out. So I boiled it in water, would bend it a little bit, boil it some more, bend it. Probably took me about an hour and a half to straighten it out. So I was pretty
Just
proud of
soften
that
it just enough. Yeah.
I was pretty proud of that one because it was a goal of mine was to research do all the research, find the area, and then find the actual object that I was looking for, and I did.
So, I mean, at this point in time, did that really I mean, have you ever like went off on a tangent, like just to look for some of this? Because, around here we don't see anything Native American that's really metal like that. So, we may find an arrowhead in a creek or in the field at some point in time, but to find actual tools that are that old, that's gotta be, that's kind of got to come with a little bit of a high, doesn't it? Finding stuff like that
Yeah,
that's that old.
Well, the first one I found was the one on the upper right, and I found that in what I call my grove of dreams. I have this spot that has been a fantastic spot for me that's close to my home. So I found that, and I wasn't sure what it was. So I just thought it was a piece of scrap copper. And then when I started doing a little more research on it, I realized what I had found, and at that point I was like ecstatic. Couldn't believe I found that thing and how old it was. And then yeah, and then after that, I guess they're all just random finds. I never really went out looking for any of them except for the one that I told this story about. And I have to go back to the round copper one. I found that actually in my hometown, in an area where the guy that was the white dealer in that hometown, he found a copper arrowhead. So I was in that area and I found this copper object, and I put it away. Thought it was Native American, but just kind of put it away and never really did much with it or did any checking into it until I showed this expert. And he said, yeah, it's definitely Native American, probably newer Native American because it was shaped into the form of like a jewelry, decorative type stuff.
Yeah, that's though I just
But
I found those.
all the other stuff could be as old as, like I said, could be as old as 5,000 BC.
Wow. I mean, you just didn't think of having anything metal crafted at that point in time.
No.
I move on through pretty quickly here, but then the next thing I saw that I really liked was this picture right here. And tell us a little bit about your Colchester, Essex County, England trip.
Well, I had I think Tim even talked about this when he was on, but so I was a firefighter for my profession. I was over 29 years, and I told myself my retirement gift to myself when I retired was to go to England metal detecting. I've been watching YouTube videos from over there, and I saw there's a few different tours that were going on, and so I saw the things they were finding. And I said, no, that would be cool to go over there and just find a hammered coin or a Roman coin or something like that. So I told Tim, I gave him like maybe 3 years notice. Said when I retire, we're going to go over there, and I'd really like you to come with me. So yeah, I planned it all out for us. Found the club that I wanted to go with. It was the tour that I wanted to go with, which was actually a club, and it was like the trip of a lifetime. And I think Tim's been back there 3 or 4 more times since then. But so yeah, we were over there. I just used this short little spade shovel as my main shovel that I hunt with. And I think at the time I probably had 6, maybe 5 or 6 Romans already dug, and nobody else had any. So I nicknamed my shovel the Roman Slayer when we were there.
Nice.
So those are the little coins on the top part of it are the some Roman bronze, and I did find 1 Roman silver when I was there.
That's
so
awesome.
Roman, so the one that's in the middle is the Roman silver. That's just a hunk of silver. I'm not sure what that is even from. And the other ones around it are the little bronze coins, and couple of bigger bronze ones. So I plan to go back in the fall of 2022. So Tim and I are planning to go back. But what's weird over there is you get out of the vehicle, the very first field. It's a huge farm field, and you look at your tour guide and you're like, so where do we go? And they're like, you just go, you just take off and go. And It's weird. You're out in the middle of nowhere and you're just popping buttons out and coins and little pieces of buckles and nails. Not like around here where some fields you could be on for a day and you won't find anything. But over there, there's stuff everywhere. They said every inch of that ground has been occupied at one time. What they say.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I'd highly recommend it for anybody that's addicted to this hobby. You need to go over there at some point.
Yeah, I'd love to take a trip over there.
And you would think that they, with how popular the hobby is over there, that they would find that there wouldn't be anything left to find. But this club has been going on for, I think it's been going for at least 15, maybe 20 years. And
wow,
they still find, they get new land all the time, but they're still going back to the same lands that have been producing and still finding stuff. And just goes to show you can never find everything, no matter how good you are or how many times you've been there.
I remember when Tim was on talking about this same trip, he had said that they had barricaded an area off and considered it as what did they call it? Basically, it's like a treasured ground now until they get all the artifacts out of it or something.
Yeah, once they find an area that's producing certain types of objects that are considered treasure, then I think then the archaeologists come in and they kind of cordon off the area and they do their thing. But the metal detectorists over there have actually changed the history of that country with the things that they've found. And they have it's called the Treasure Act, which they have laws where you have to inform. They call them the local coroner, I think they're called, but that's like their local liaison for the archaeologist or whatever.
Things get turned into them. They get to find out how old they are, where they came from, and that kind of thing. Deem it actual treasure from a certain period of time, if it was this old or if it was this type of metal kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And then if it's something that's really, really rare, it has to go through a whole process through the British Museum to whether or not it gets claimed or disclaimed. And the local if they want to keep it, then they'll offer it to like the local museums, or the British Museum will keep it or whatever, and then they put a value to it, and half of that goes to the landowner and the other half goes to the person that found it.
I mean, that's a win still. Do you get do you get credit for that? Will your name be for that on the museum?
I think you do.
Well, you want to hear something funny? I've been sitting here running off at the mouth, and I had my mute button on.
Okay.
Hey, maybe that's why I actually got a chance to talk this time.
Yeah, I know. It's good that I shut up every now and again. Sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean to cut you off. I talk too much.
That's okay.
I'm being really smart about it. What I was getting ready to say was, did you have anything still over there that they're holding on to or haven't disclaimed or what yet?
No, I got all my stuff back. I wasn't as lucky as Tim. Tim's got I think 2 or 3 things. He's got a gold coin, that gold ingot, and another gold ring that he found. Gold seems to be the stuff they're really interested in, and the real old bronze objects too, I think, are highly sought after.
Yeah, I would say that, Tim had us pretty well leveled with his story of the trip. I mean, I look at your takes from that trip too, and I'm thinking that's a pretty good haul for a trip over there. But Tim's stories kind of really knocked us both down when we heard him, because, we weren't really, I didn't know what to expect from Tim's story that day. And then that's how your name came up, because he was telling the story about how, you forced him into going with you basically. And so it was really,
I made a UK monster out of him, I think.
And then you created a monster. That's it.
Yeah, he went back, like we were there in March, and I think he went back again right away that fall. And then he was back again the next year after that. And I'm trying to think if he's been there 4 times or 3 times, and each time he's been over there, he's found some really nice stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, it makes me want to go all that much more.
Ours was a 10-day hunt, but I did something really stupid. I got myself dehydrated after about 5 days, so I ended up 5 or 6 days. So I ended up spending like 2 days trying to recuperate. So I missed 2 days of the hunt. So
that's no fun.
yeah, I'm a big water drinker, and I wasn't drinking my water like I should. I was just going at it as hard as I could and got myself dehydrated. But it was still an awesome trip.
Yeah, I mean, Tim got me all fired up. I want to go so bad right now. I've got money put back. I could probably accomplish it. I just something I want to do, and I will do. I guarantee you that's one of those things that I will eventually do. If I have to drag Nick with me, that's another thing.
Maybe you guys can join Tim and I someday and go over there.
Heck yeah, I'm all about that. I'll start saving for it today. You know, I was looking at this one a little bit, and I never really got a chance to get in here and go through all this. Tell me some of the significant pieces that you found in here that are really special.
Well, I do a lot of old country churches, and that's kind of one of my specialties, and also the one-room schoolhouses. That's kind of been my thing for probably the last 6 or 7 years. So I guess there isn't anything in here that's really stands out, but it's I'm a religious person, so it's kind of it means a lot to me to preserve these, to get them out of the ground. And I do have an idea for a display that I would like to do. I'm going to make a cross out of barnwood and then mount all this stuff on the barnwood cross. That's what I'd like to do eventually. But I have a lot of good ideas for displays, but I just never get around to doing them.
Yeah, I got you.
There's hundreds of I don't know how many different pieces, probably 100 pieces at least in there.
Yeah, I like the picture. I just like the way that it was all just kind of laid out. It kind of reminds me of Nick's little background picture that he's got for his banner for his channel. I thought it was really nifty, and I was kind of looking through it a little bit. I see several different little charms. Look like got initials on there. Lots of different, crosses and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we don't seem to come across a lot of that around here. So it was really kind of neat to see your little display there. You ought to definitely do something with it, because there's a lot of cool looking pieces in that.
Yeah, and I have a bigger bronze piece too that I have hanging on the wall here behind me. But yeah, it's definitely needs to be displayed in a proper way.
So my wife has gotten me 2 different types of shadow boxes, and she'd taken some things and actually hot glued them, things that I would just put in a box, but she hot like this old top shackle padlock. It's a Wells Fargo padlock. Even this really cool little Matchbox airplane. It was pretty old, that kind of stuff. And she'd put it in the shadow box, and that way I can still see everything, and it's out in the living room. And then she bought me this second one. It has shelves in it, and it's actually for they're like a token, or they call them challenge tokens, challenge coins. Mm-hmm. So it's got a routed groove in each shelf that you can set in and lean them back. But I put all my coins in there, the significant coins, my IHPs, my silvers, anything like that. Some my Tomback buttons, that kind of thing. And it's really cool. It's here in my bedroom, actually, right here in front of me. So that's something really cool. You could do something like that and really actually just show them all.
I have another box or another little container that's all full of tokens, probably 100, at least 100 or some tokens that I have never did anything with. My coins I just put in cardboard in the little cardboard holders, and I put them in a 3-ring binder. So I have, I don't know,
Yeah.
4 binders full of. I do Indian heads and buffalo nickels and everything older than that, and then all the silver that I found.
That's cool. I wish I would have always put mine in a little cardboard thing and wrote the date on them. I got one for my very first silver, and that's the only one. Never bought any more. And
Yeah.
I remember the date on that one because I wrote it down. So that's the only one I remember the date on.
I have every one going back to 1981. And 1981
Wow.
is actually when I started keeping records of all my hunts. So I have every hunt that I've ever done since 1981 on record. And I wished I would have started when I first started the hobby, but I didn't. And that seeded coin that I found, I can't find it anywhere. I have no idea where it went. I've looked high and low for it.
Man.
But I didn't. What that seeded coin? I didn't know the significance of that coin for Wisconsin, because it's actually a fairly rare to find seeded coins in Wisconsin. You don't find them that often. And to me, it was just a cool old silver coin that I found.
Right.
Yeah. So, was your first detector that Beachcomber?
What's that?
Was the Beachcomber your first detector?
That was my first, my first real detector. Besides that kit one that I had, that I said used for with the transmitter radio. So this Beachcomber, this is the actual machine. This is not the actual machine that I had when I first got it, but it is it's the exact same machine, but not the original one that I had. I bought this one off YouTube from somebody, or not YouTube, off eBay from somebody for like $30 or something like that. I saw it on there and I thought, oh, I gotta have that. So now it's basically a wall display for me. But I do have the original flyer from when I picked up this flyer at the state fair for that white stealer. That was the original flyer from White's.
Zoom it. Yeah, zoom in there on Jeff. There you go.
His business name was Beneficial Hobby, was the name of his White's dealership. So yeah, I still have that.
I see. I think stuff like that's pretty neat. The reason why I like your Beachcomber, the picture of that detector, is it really reminds me of my first one. My first one looked very similar to that. The coil is almost identical. Mine was green instead of blue, and it said bullseye across the coil, and it had a little hole in the center. And I can't remember exactly. That's the first one I remember owning for myself. The other one was my stepdad's. But it brought back, when you sent that picture, it brought back some memories. At what we were talking about earlier, if you want to bring it up again, and I'll bring you back up, make you big, is show everybody that little G-Man ring that you found and tell us a little bit about it.
So here we go. Let's get that in the camera. So this is one of my latest finds, most recent finds. You can see a little gold patina on it.
Yeah.
So southeastern Wisconsin's been in a real severe drought, and the river levels have been way down, probably the lowest I've seen them since I've been keeping track of them. And so I went to this swimming hole that I've been going to for probably 4 or 5 years now. Tim's been there a couple of times with me too, and there's not a lot left there, but there is still some targets, especially when the water's down and get out a little bit deeper. So I found that ring, and it's a child's ring from the 30s. And Tim told me in the book that it's listed as a rare type because of the gold patina. So.
It's really cool, though. I mean, I like the shield shape on it too. It's very unique. And that I still think it's cool that we get like kids jewelry today is more costume jewelry, but They didn't do that back in the 30s and even before then. And to see actual jewelry that was made for kids and to be able to find it, kids are going to be more apt to losing that kind of stuff. So you would think you would find more of them. I think it's neat.
I do, and I think the little experience that I do have doing these old swimming holes is we find a lot of small child rings, gold and silver. I don't know why they had so many kids wearing rings back then, but they did.
Yeah, I know.
Little signet rings, and then these little costume rings were like in Cracker Jack boxes and cereal boxes, I think, or you collected gum wrappers and sent in to get them and things like that back then. And but yeah, there's some pretty rare ones. I know Tim has found a lot of cool old rings, kids rings.
Yeah, speaking of Tim, I know you guys are fairly close to each other. How did you and Tim get hooked up again? Because you're not really that close together. You're a couple hours apart, right?
Yeah, well, there was a forum that originally, when I got back into it and I bought DFX, there was a forum called DFX Only, and the guy that just started that, I don't know, he was being harassed on one of the other forums. I don't know which one it was, but so he started his own forum called DFX Only, and you had to be a White's metal detector owner to be a part of it. So they were doing an annual hunt, and they hunted Boy Scout camps. So we were out in Ohio, I think, is when I met Tim, out in Ohio, and we just hit it off from day one, and found out we only lived a couple hours from each other, and his family is all from the area that I live in. I think his dad's family is all from this area. So we just started hooking up every once in a while, and not often enough, but we meet halfway. We're about 2 hours from each other, so we'll meet halfway, or he'll come up by me, or I'll go down by him. So it turned into a really good, an awesome friendship, and he's a super great guy. And we have other things in common besides just the metal detecting too.
Now, if I remember correctly, Tim says you're a very good researcher as far as the hobby goes.
Yeah, I get into it when I get into it. What we do is if we pick an area where we want to meet up, I'll just go into research mode for like 2 days and start scouring the maps, and then I get online and find the owners and get everything all set up for us.
Now, do you have a GIS service that you can use for landowners, or how do you how do you get your landowners?
Through the GIS, through the county GIS.
So you got
I don't know of any counties in Wisconsin that don't have a GIS for their county on the website. Some of them are a little more easier to use than others. And then also I found that in Illinois, when we go down to Illinois, that all those counties down there have a GIS too. That's how I get a hold of landowners. Sometimes it's not the easiest thing because they're a corporation or a large farm organization that owns it. So it's not always that simple tracking down the owners. And I hate calling people. I'd rather do it face to face so they can see me and see that I'm not just some weirdo or whatever. I feel like
I was going to say degenerate, but because that's what I think of when I think of ourselves.
I always feel like I have a higher percentage of yeses when I'm doing it face to face than I'm over the phone. But I have done it over the phone. When we went down to North Carolina this year, Tim and I went for that dig stock. We were going down a couple days early, and I didn't want to just go down there and try to randomly find some place. So I started doing research for that area, and I ended up coming across a really nice farm that the guy gave me permission over the phone. And actually, I think he gave me permission over email. We talked briefly on the phone, and then he told me to send him an email about where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, and gave me permission by email.
So how did your trip to Digstock turn out? I know I don't remember seeing anything that you did. I remember watching one of Tim's video, but I don't know that I watched yours.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. I found my main goal when I went down there, I think Tim's main goal was we both wanted to find a 3-ringer, something Civil War. I wanted to find a Civil War button. I did not find one of those, but Tim did. I found a few old coins. It was the first day was much better than the second day. Second day was a little disappointing. Didn't find much at all, but I mean overall we met some really awesome people down there. Got to dig some stuff that we normally don't find in this area. Yeah, and the 3-ringer was the number one thing. But then I also found a I can't remember what they called that one, the 3-ringer with the hole in the middle of it, or not the hole in the middle. I can't remember what it's.
The type of bullet, right?
The type of bullet.
Right?
It's a different type. And it's right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. So I found one of those too. So, but overall, I was happy with it. My main goal was to find that something Civil War, and I did.
Williams Cleaner, is that
Williams
right?
Cleaner. Yep, Tim just popped out Williams Cleaner.
Good job, Tim. Way to be Johnny on the spot.
So I think there was a couple of Williams Cleaners found that weekend, and there wasn't that many, but there was a lot of 3-ringers. Pretty big 3-ringers.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, we get them every now and again down here. We found several, but we did have some Civil War activity in southern Indiana where we normally dig. So it's they're not super common, but we do come across them.
I think Kurt found one last time we were all out.
There are some areas in Wisconsin that they said they used to have muster sites for the regiment, or the, I don't know what they call the soldiers that came from Wisconsin. They would muster in a certain area or train in an area, and I've tried very hard to find some of those spots, and I can't. There doesn't seem to be many records of that stuff for Wisconsin.
So we were talking before we it feels like it's been a long time ago now. It's been a little over a month probably. What is going to be your goal for this year? I mean, I know you were wanting to kind of reinvigorate your channel a little bit. Do you got anything planned or lined up for the rest of the year that you want to talk about to kind of help boost your channel up a little bit?
Yeah, I really want to get like I guess I wanted to get more subscribers somehow. I'm not really. I feel like I've kind of been at the 1,000 subscriber mark for a few years now, and it doesn't seem to be growing much. So just promoting my channel. I would like to get more regular content, but it doesn't seem to be working out that well for me with time wise. I started working. I am retired, but I have young 15 and 18-year-old, one going off to college, and I started working part-time again, and I have another hobby that I love doing this time of the year, so that takes away from the metal detecting too. But I don't have anything real special planned. I'd like to come up with some type of logo for my channel, and then maybe like a short introduction to use at the beginning of each one of my videos, and then try to be more consistent with my content. Maybe every other week put out a video, or not just randomly. I think that would help.
Yeah, I would say, a little bit more consistency is always good, but sometimes being consistent ends up being a little bit tedious at times, where you get kind of feel like you're on a schedule, and sometimes it gets a little off, so you have to take a little break every now and again. Hey, I just put Jeff's link back in the chat today. Everybody that's in here tonight, please go over and hit him up. He's got some really nice finds in there, and and especially when he gets out and digs with his buddy Tim, who's a great personality that we have around the community. Give Jeff some support. I'm sure that a little bit of support would kind of might help wind him up a little bit again. It seems like he gets wound up every now and again and goes off and does some really good stuff.
Usually the spring and the fall is my most is when I felt the most, and in the summertime I'll do some water hunting. That's mainly spring and fall. Of course, when the crops are off and the weather's a little better for metal detecting around here. Otherwise, the ground gets too hard too sometimes in the summer.
You're welcome, Don. I'm sorry you had to have a pet pass away, but I was just wanted to make sure I got in touch with you about your surprise. And Tim says that we need to get the new Metal Detecting Wisconsin to change his channel name. Is that the one from Instagram that you're talking about, Tim? Is that what he's talking about, Jeff?
Yeah, and there's also a Metal Detecting Wisconsin Facebook page too.
Yeah, because there was a time there that I was talking to somebody else on Instagram that I thought was you, and it wasn't you. So I was kind of confused for a little while there.
Yeah, he had the Instagram Metal Detecting Wisconsin before I changed mine. I was AG Hunter, initials stood for AG Hunter, which is Silver Hunter. And I was thinking of changing my channel to that too, but then I decided to stick with the Metal Detecting Wisconsin since I've had it for so many years. And I don't know when he started the YouTube channel, but it's not an active channel, but he does have a metal detecting channel on
Well,
YouTube
the good
too.
news is yours comes up first. Nick had the problem, of an REO Speedwagon, for his channel name, and it took a while to get his, where you could actually find it fairly easy.
Yeah, I had trouble finding Nick's when I put in Take It On. I kept getting REO Speedwagon stuff coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an oversight, and I'm just too stubborn to change my name. So
yeah, I should I wish I would have put a little more thought into my name when I first started out, because you know how that is. Sometimes you do something and just don't think of the long term. But
so I feel like you and I are a lot alike in the fact that you probably write a lot of things down. You said that you kept a log of all your information as far as when you went detecting and where you went detecting. You keep all of that, and you're an excellent researcher. I'm sure that really applies well. I have got notebooks scattered all over my house, and they're just filled with random babblings from my brain that just spill onto paper. It's like I make lists all the time. I'm making lists.
I'm the exact same way. I have a little notebook in my car. When I'm driving around, I see someplace, I'm like, oh, I got to write this address down, or I got to write that down, or I have a random thought about, And I have pages and pages of notebooks just filled with research stuff. And I'll go back through that every once in a while and look at the nose, who I got no's from, and then I'll go back and see if the landowner changed names. And I've come across a few times where it was a new landowner, and then I went back to the new landowner and end up getting a yes for the property.
That's
so it
great.
pays to keep all those.
Keep an eye on something.
It pays to keep all those old notes. Yeah.
Yes.
We've got a couple
all the time.
We got a couple places that where there's really old properties, and you find out that it's owned by some conglomerate in another city, and that you cannot actually try to really get in contact with, and you can try leave messages. They never ever call you back, and trespassing is a big no-no. So there's a couple that are just sitting out in the middle of the sticks that nobody really even knows about that we've tried to get. And I mean, we've sent emails, phone calls, voicemails. We've left messages. I've even gotten as far as to there's one out near Barbersville, that old 1812 military camp. There's a place out there that I've been trying to get, and I've been trying to get a hold of the owners of this place for it's going on 3 years now, and I've never gotten a call back. It's almost like I'm talking to nobody, and I've sent multiple emails and messages. You figure eventually they'd get tired of hearing from me and just say no or something like that. Makes me feel like they're not even there. So I know getting a hold of people sometimes is really tough.
Yeah.
So you've been out.
Farmer. I had a really nice spot lined up that I thought I was going to be able to get Tim and I both on in the fall. Had an old one schoolhouse on it and 3 homesteads. And the farmer called me back in the middle of the summer, like 3 months after my initial call, and said, yeah, just call me in the fall when the crops are off and it shouldn't be a problem. Well, I've left him over the last year, I've left him probably 4 messages, and he just kind of is like ghosting me. But Tim had a similar thing down in Illinois where he had a property that he couldn't get a hold of, and I helped him do a little research trying to figure out who the landowner was, and the landowner turned out to be some conglomerate out in, I think it was Utah or somewhere. They owned farm fields all over the entire United States, and Tim left the guy a message, and he actually got a hold of him, and it turned out to be a pretty productive spot for him close to his home.
I don't have that kind of luck.
It does, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta say, well, it's the way it is. I'm not going to get the permission. But if it's a farm field, you can always go out and stake out the farmer and try to get a hold of the farm, or sit out there until you see him on his tractor and then approach him.
That's Kurt. That's our buddy.
Yeah.
Well,
he's leasing the land or whatever.
Jeff, I wanted to say, I mean, it's been a pleasure having you on tonight, especially with your internet not kicking you around like a dog or anything, and so we can actually have this conversation. It's glad to meet you, glad to sit and talk to you a little bit. I'm going to keep you up for a little bit while longer, but if anybody else is interested in doing a little channel promotion tonight or coming up and saying hi to Jeff, I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Feel free to come up and join. I haven't got a chance to do that much lately because my blabber mouth keeps us talking, and we end up going an hour and a half without letting anybody else come up and promote. I'm willing to have a couple people in tonight and say hey to Jeff for a little bit. It's always nice to kind of keep that going because we haven't done that lately. So, especially Tim. Tim could come up and say hi too. He is your buddy and all.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you having me on and helping me do a little promoting. I promised all the people that subscribe to me that I'll get some new content out this fall and maybe some water hunting stuff this winter or this summer, I mean.
Yeah, I'd like to. I definitely like watching some of the water hunting. It's one of the things that's on my list this year. But as the way lists go, sometimes you don't get to them, and life just kind of kicks your butt sometimes, and we don't always make it to do the things we want to. So, but when the wintertime rolls around, I watch a lot.
Water. It's tough filming in the water too, because you're fumbling around with your camera or whatever in the water, and sometimes it's not that easy. Water hunting's hard enough, and then try to film it is another thing.
Yeah, I screwed up before I went to Florida, and I didn't get me a scoop, and so I just got one of them ready to be on the way, and so I wanted to do a little bit more beach down there. Oh, where'd you go? There he is. What's up, brother man?
Not too much. How is everybody?
Pretty good. Just sitting here picking your buddy's brain today.
Yeah, there's a lot to pick there.
Hey, Tim.
How you doing, Jeff?
So, how'd that piece of gold feel the other day, buddy?
Oh my Lord! I wish you could have heard the sigh of relief. You seen the pictures on Instagram, and I posted a little video on my YouTube channel. Since the first of the year, I've collected every single pull tab that I've dug. They say, I've heard this statement more than once. You can expect or hope to find one piece of gold for every 100 pull tabs that you dig. So I thought I'd try that, test that theory out this year. And since January 1st, I've collected and saved pretty much every single pull tab that I've dug. There's a couple of them that made it into the trash, but so that I've kept them all, threw them in a bucket, and then it was this past weekend before I got my first piece of gold digging those signals. So I dumped that whole pile out and put that gold ring on top like a cherry. I really need to sit down and count them though.
That's exactly, you know, because once you get on a kick, right, you start mid-toning it, because either you're somewhere where everybody's pounded out the all the high tones, and it's pull tab after pull tab, and you're like, oh. And then the day that gold ring comes up, it's only came up for me one time, but you know, it's like vindication. You're like, thank you, oh, thank you.
For sure. Just for Mother's Day, I bought my wife an Equinox, and she's been out a handful of times. And the school that I took her to the very first time she went out, and she found a war nickel. And I actually found a barb recorder that day. We went back there this following weekend, and that's where I found that gold ring. And we had been out, I think we were out there about 2.5 hours, and she about had it. She said, I'm going to go sit in the truck. She was, my hands are killing me from pushing this trowel on the ground. I'm like, that's fine. I'll turn around right here and I'll just detect my way back to the truck. I'll meet you at the truck. She's okay, fine. I probably drug maybe 2 more signals, and then I got this 14, just another pull tab signal. I dug the plug and flipped it over, and it was still down in the hole. Stuck my trowel in there, popped out a little plug of dirt, and I touched the pinpointer to it. It was screaming. I just kind of leaned over, and I could see that, like, whoa, that's what we wanted to see. And I just said,
yeah.
fine.
I was gonna say, man, watching you with that I felt your relief, buddy. I really did, because I dig a ton of them. I mean, I dig a ton of those signals, looking for that, and when it actually pays off, I feel really good for somebody. And hey, and just really quick before everybody starts bailing out of here tonight, I got a comment up from the Magnetic Squatch. I know that he's pushing 1K subs, getting really close. So if anybody hasn't watched any of his magnet fishing videos, stop by over there and show that man a little bit of support. Does a pretty good live stream on Friday nights. Yeah, I just wanted to say, everybody give Squatchy a little bit of love. I would definitely appreciate that. He's a pretty good supporter of all these channels. So anyway, go ahead. But I see that I lost Nick, so he must have disconnected and had to get on his phone, because I see him in the chat. So are you guys, when's the next time you guys are gonna collab again?
Soon, hopefully.
Not sure. Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
One of these days, I told Tim a while back, we sit and talked a little bit afterwards. The England trip sounds like a really good thing, and I pretty much got permission from my wife. So, you know, that's one of them that I would really like to do. Squatchy's at 993, guys. 993, 7 subs to hit 1K. That's a big day. But I would love to do that. I'd love to hang out with you guys and at least go dig one time. I mean, I'm about 5 hours from Tim. So, I mean, that's not out of the question for a weekend. So,
yeah, that's
And
not out of the question.
Shane, so you know that our trip's full right now, but it's people back out quite often, and you are number 1 on the list. If someone bails, you are there. All right.
all right, I will definitely take advantage of it. I got cash set aside to pay for it. So, that's one of those things that, you know, you definitely want to go with somebody that's been and go and experience it with them. So I would definitely be interested. If somebody backs out, please let me know.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. If Jeff hadn't gone with me,
That'd be awesome.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You know, I mean, I loved your story of Jeff basically forcing you to go. Says, you're going with me. You don't have much of a choice. I would have loved to brought that conversation to my wife. Yeah, honey, one of my friends a couple hours away from here that I go digging with has said that I have to go to England with him. You mind if I spend $2,000 on a plane ticket, you know?
No, she was more like, you're going, right?
That's the way my wife would be. She'd be like, you're not going to pass that up, are you? And plus, the opportunity to kick me out of the house for 7, 9, 11 days is probably high on her priority list.
Maybe that was it.
Get rid of him.
Yeah, right. He's gone.
Hey, everybody! I want to thank everybody for coming in and hanging out with us tonight. Jeff, it's been a pleasure, buddy. Please keep in touch. I try to talk to Tim at least through chat once or so a week. Keep in contact. If you got something that you want to bring up or come back in and talk about, we got plenty of time in here. I love being in here on Thursday nights. It's one of the more fun things that I do anymore. So, and I've met so many great people. But I appreciate both of you guys. Tim is one of my favorite shows, and it's been great.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me
on. Make it a regular on Thursdays if I can.
Heck yeah, especially if you're trying to promote your channel. It's these live streams are really good for everybody that's in the hobby. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a night tonight. I don't want to run too late. Thank everybody for showing up. Please show Jeff some love. Magnetic Squatch has got about a few subs left to 1,000, and let's all have a good time together. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.
Take care.